about the components of the business analytics. In the overview, we saw about what exactly the overview of the business analytics, what are the problem converted into the business analytics problem, what are the different kinds of the business analytics problems. Now we'll be understanding the components of the business problems into the more details. Before we deep dive into the business analytics, we understood how the it started. Now in the 1960s, when the boom has happened, the analytics came into the picture because it was more easy to drill down the numbers. Their business analytics exploded with the boom of the business computers. The computers helped in huge amount of the volume of the business data and ultimately helped in managing the business data in a more efficient and a systematic way. Earlier analytics, it was used as the consumers for the business analytics, and now it has moved to the further details. Now the business analytics is becoming the tool that can help the fluctuations into the customers or the interactions. As an example, we now understand when the customer will buy, how the consumer will buy. So we are making them to buy, how the analytics helps. Analytics enable in the sales pitch for the targeting the consumers in a more appropriate way. So as an example, if the salesman already know what the customer also know, he will be able to target the consumer in more appropriate manner, and that's why the analytics helps. It will help you to target a more appropriate business manner. When the customer sales knows that this person is going to buy the product A and his product at a particular price level, then he can pledge accordingly. That's how the analytics helps. The business analytics helps is a tool that technologies and the statistical tools. So it is a component of various things. So with business analytics, when we talk about a business model way, one is the tool, the second is the statistical techniques, and third is the business understandings. When you will be leveraging, able to understand and appropriate manner leveraging them, you will be able to understand and solve the business problems. So when we talk about the business analytics, so it is finding out the business pattern, identification of the relationship with the cleaning the business in helps in the output and output that to the business teams. There is a minor difference between the business analytics and the business intelligence. Those business analytics minor differences you will be able to understand. So both are importance into the business analytics. When we understand for the both the components and the differences, we will be able to utilize them in a more effective way. When we talk about the business intelligence, it is although they belong to the same components, it belongs to the data science. Well, it is used in a different way. First of all, we understand what they do. Business intelligence is a presenting the business report at what exactly is happening in the business report. Our sales are going down, our sales are going up. What is the percentage in the percent to the last year? What improvements are improving? What are they declining? So all these components and their understandings, business intelligence is, so basically it is reporting to the what the data is showing. Whereas on business analytics is as finding out the reasons why it is happening. So it is predicting using those trends. So if the business sales are going down by 10%, so it is a business intelligence report. The sales are going down by 10% because the certain percent markets are now performing well, and they have degrown because they are finding out the reasons behind that, how it is being achieved. When you're talking about the business intelligence report, here lot of data you will be combine them, you will be able to clean them and front end tool by the scorecard, dashboard, scorecards, charts, graphs, alerts, using various tools. There are various tools like Tableau, GetU, or etc. in the market, which are used in the business dashboards, which are the business intelligence dashboard. Whereas in the business analytics, there are the statistical and the mathematical techniques to understand what are the different hidden patterns and how we'll be able to use them into the dialogue, into the final outcome. When you talk about business outcome for the two, when the business intelligence do with the businesses, it tells about what exactly is the business happening by populating the business populations and all the KPIs into the business data. Into the business analytics, you will be developing able to that the report into the business intelligence dashboards. You will be able to action You will be able to plan what should be able to do. You should be also able to find the risk areas, you will be predictive areas, and you will be able to take the decisions accordingly. When you are dealing with the business data, you will be aggregating the business data into further usage, and there you can understand how the data aggregation takes place. Data aggregated, it takes place into the two ways. First is the transactional data, as you mentioned. The transactional data is the large data and all the combines, and data is getting developed into the right source of the generation of the right data into the business pictures. When you shop for the business product, we will be created a data point, and those will be able to proper channel into the business medium and into the segregations. Where is another format data, which is a volunteer data that is not directly supplied. It will be random. It will be like the random surveys or the feeding informations into the pictures and the pencils, feedbacks, and those had to be incorporated into the converted into usual business channels and segregate into the consolidated platforms wherein you will be able to analyze it. Data aggregation is basically the process gathering such data and creating the data into the business formats where it can be easily analyzed. Data aggregation is into the retail sector and financing sector. It is used into the different sectors, and you will be able to understand how data aggregation is done into the different sectors. As an example, in the financial and investing sectors, the data is used for predictive analysis, like collecting the various components, like how exactly the salary of the customer, what are the business profile of the customer, what the customer do, what inter credit score, what are the credit things that he do, what are the spend capacity of he do. Data is aggregated and aggregated into the single platforms wherein it is used for further things and the predictive things analytics. In the retail sector, industry, data analytics is for the prime own comparing competitive business prices. You can see about the business prices, how you can be able to see into the business competitors, how you will be able to what impact on the businesses. In the retail industry, every industry, it will be competitive data will help you to leverage the data into the right metrics with the help of the right businesses. In the travel industry, you will be able to see aggregations of the price monitoring. As an example, if the jet airways is price airways is used for indicates price at and price, you will be able to see what will be the impact on the business airlines industries and how it will be impacting on the business practice. It will also to understand the customer sentiments, aggregation into the businesses, customer sentiment analysis with respect to the airlines, web data integrations, where such platforms are there, that your data aggregation will help you to understanding you the various aspects of the business analytics. So if the customer is planning for one place to another, so what exactly he's spending one place, where he's getting dropped off, where he's taking more, you will be utilizing and converting into the revenue forms wherein you will be spending more time on. If he can be a good advertising source, he can the web page and dropping out what exactly this is the into the page into the problem, and which is causing to the problem to the consumer to drop out. You will be aggregating the mining activities wherein you will be trying out the relationship with the variables, where you will be able to find out for the variables when you are able to dependent variables. So dependent variables, we are understanding the consumer's behavior and whether he will be buying or not. So that is a variable. Independent variable is the two variables, yes or no, whether the consumer will buy or consumer will not buy. There are other variables who will be able to find out the variables of the final outcomes, like how many times he shops, what is the lifetime value, what is the transaction per value. All these things are independent values for helping him to understand the final output as of the different understandings. So we'll be able to identifying the data analytics and the data mining. You will be identifying finding the marketing activities, finding out the patterns of the business patterns, the information that you are trying to extract from the business extract is the data mining. There are various types of the data mining that is used in the data mining. As an example, it will be a relational databases are those databases where the information is stored in the tables, and every table is connected to another. So for an example, there will be a one salary table for a company wherein all the information, all the available, and there is the data available wherein all the contactability information is available. All these tables will be connected via an employee ID. One employee ID will be able to an employee ID will be able to get what salary information as well as the contactability information of the same employees. Then there are data warehousing, where in a broad structured way that is used in analyzing. There are advanced DBI and repositories that will be able to store certain informations, and you can use this information for mining the information into business practices. There are also object-oriented databases which are designed in arranged in such a way wherein you will be able to create the objects and find out the informations. There are also the transactional databases, and is the databases is the storing a certain amount of the information, and you will be extracting using that information into the insights. There are streaming information available like the Netflix example, the Amazon's, they will be storing about the streaming informations. So if you're selling certain kinds of movies, they will be able to understand what kind of tables are available, and they will be able to recommend the movies like the likability. There are test bases like the type of the data. Text basis is the unstructured informations wherein your data is stored in such a way that is structured, that in a structured way or in a unstructured way, or the tweets like the tweeted tweets. In the certain tweets we will be able to find out, we will be able to text informations, and the text information is further analyzed into finding out the business which is. And when you will be analyzing into the text information, you will be understanding how the text mining is done into the text data. So we talked about the data mining. Let's see process about the data mining. When you will be doing the data mining, you will be first understanding the businesses, and we will be able to understand into the business problems. We will try to understand the data, and then you will be trying to prepare the data for further analysis. Basis of your analysis into the business pictures is where the final income will be prepared. And once you have prepared, finalized and clean, you will be further utilizing for modeling. You will be statistical techniques for business modeling and finding out the insights. Once your business model is prepared, you will be evaluating the business model, whether it is given accurate basis and how it will be able to find out the data. Once you are able to in an efficient manner and you are a good accuracy score, you will see the same business model to put it into the production, and that model will be into the business production and will be used for finding out the final production outcomes. Let's try to understand each and every component step by step. First, there is the business understandings. The business understanding comes from usually the stakeholders. There will be key areas, what you will be finding out areas. As an example, if you can see the feedbacks, what are the feedbacks, all the feedbacks you have collected from the feedbacks is your business understanding is positives as well as the negative sentiments of the product. So the users will be entering into the segments, comments, and your objective will be to convert those data into the sentiments area. So those are the sentimental analysis. So the business stakeholder asks you whether you are getting the positive feedbacks or the negative feedbacks, how the consumers are selling with the products. You convert it into the analytical product by analysis. This is the segments, and this is sentiment analysis, where you want to predict whether the consumer is positive or the negative about the product. Once your business analytics is finding, then you will be moving to collections and understanding of the business data. You will be first able to understand what exactly is the different data will be available. Like in the sentiments analysis you are done, you will be requiring the text information. You will be collecting the text actual feedbacks from the products where the feedbacks are collected. The feedbacks can be collected on the web page or collected in a post machine or the platforms. or in an activity or in an app or in a survey, wherever they are, we will need to consolidate them, so you don't mess out your information. Once you collect those data, we will be able to understand what are the different things here available, what things are available. So like once you the textual information in the picture feedback information, you will also need what are the attributes, the consumer's attributes, whether the consumers if male or female, or if it is an important information with respect to the product. So you will be able to leverage out with the different products. Mm, you pertain to the particular age group or the particular geography, you will also be able to see or maintain that information into the businesses. That if you will be identifying the business inputs, you will be able to analyze you will be able to analyze it and consolidating them into a simple manner. Once your consolidated data is being collected, you will be able to prepare it into the business and for the business analytics. And so it takes a lot of time. We are taking and approximately 80% of the data goes into managing the data, collecting the data, cleaning the data analytics, because there are so many outputs that are available into the numeric data. We have the outliers, extreme values that can be impacting on the clean them. So there will be missing information that you need to fill in, and you need to remove them. If it is a textual data, there will be textual random volume of the data. So for example, and there are many words which they are not meaning word, they are just the supportive words. They don't give the input for out of that. You need to clean them for utilizing the data for further analysis. Once the data is prepared into the transformations, into the cleans for appropriately. As an example, there are several things. Your skirts are the flat, and your all of a sudden there is a lockdown happening. People started shopping to a lot of lockdown will be extracted, and they are buying more products at the same time. That is an unusual event, not happening every time. So when that trend data is happening in the trends, that it will be impacting on the trend identification. So when the extra pixels go smooth out the pics so that it looks like a usual trend, and once that activities happen, so this is called as the smoothing of the data. Then you need to aggregate the data. So if the aggregations are not happening or value are not appropriately way, then you need to do in the aggregation way. What is the average sale value generated by the sales every data? What is the transaction value generated by every customer? You need to identify them, you need to normalize them, you need to go variables together, and there is a question come together, that is the person who has 25 years and another person who has the age of the weight of the 70 years. Compare them into the identify and to keep them together. Now the problem here is when the person who is the value which is age in the years, and for the second person is in the kgs in the weight. So these two values can't be compared together because they are the different units, and you want to comparable. So now you will be doing activities where those activities or variables are directly, you need to segregate into the normalized forms. Normalization is the way converting the data into the scale wherein the center lies at a 0. It is those value at the data in z values, and those z values are used to compare are more appropriate manner. So if they are close of the z value of age or z value of age are near to each other, then they belongs to each other. No. So those techniques are normalizations wherein the two values can be made comparable, and attributable constraints can be directly available, or you need to create another variables. As for example, if there are too many outliers and you don't know how to manage them, then you need to impact identification, and once that impact of outlier is taking the log of the original value. So because those original value is the value creating the text. So here when you are trying to, instead you will be creating another attribute which is a log form of the original format. So such attributes is used as the further modeling. So that is being done, and the component of the business data come together. When the data is being transformed together and modeling, you will be therefore modeling, and you will be moving further into the business modeling. Once you are modeling, you need to identify the statistical techniques to business to the business picture. And again, it will be depend on the outcome variables or the dependent variable. So if the dependent variable is the categories and classification algorithm, if it is a continuous variable, if it is regression techniques. If your techniques don't have the outcome variable, then you can be using the different techniques like the clustering or the market basket analysis. So if you need to identify the alternatives. Once your business model is prepared and statistical techniques is there ready, you will be moving to the evaluation of the techniques. You need to business good or bad. That is the evaluation of the business models. There are different ways for evaluation of the business models. So for example, if you have classification of yes or no, whether that loan amount. Now you created that in the historical data. You need to prepare who provided the loaded amount and who did it. And your data will be modeling, will be separating into the same data. That your data will be, this person will return the loan or not. So now you'll be creating the confusion matrix wherein your confusion, and that is if this person will the loan or and that person return the loan, then that is the accurate measure. That is accurately measured. Yes. The people for whom the predicted is that this will not return loan and he actually didn't return, then it is also an accurate measure. But the person or who the loan, but they are not taking it, then that is the wrong area. So for example, if he's doing the other way, this person will return the loan and he's not returning, so that is the wrong findings. So you need to identify the percentage of the accurate measures and inaccurate measures. If your accurate measures divided by total measures gives you an outcome of your, so let's suppose the 76 percentage, then that means the 76, so that is it is predicted that it is a good model. So if your loan, if your model recovery is coming at just a 40 percentage, so it is just giving the right outcome for predicting it. So your model is weak. So it is comes into the evaluations. Once your evaluated model and that has been performing well, then that is, you need to deploy it well. You need to directly measure via the predicting. You need to existing data to the future, and you use the future to outcomes to the further utilize into the business outcomes. Or you can develop applications can be well common, and you can track down the information into the business models. And when you will be able to doing the data mining, you will be using the several techniques, and a few of those techniques are classification techniques, where we'll be able to classifying. Clustering is the grouping of the data. Regression is something which you outcome into the as continuous manner, like the sales or what. And association is the finding out the business patterns into the different businesses. So if A says and B says, so if the t-shirt sells, the jeans also sells. So these are the associations that you are trying to identify into the business data mining, into the business data mining activities. When you're doing the business data mining, you need to clean the data, outlier detections. This data will also help you in identifying are there any business problems or are there any risk. If you are taking the reason for outline and it's not reflected in the, you need to identify those activities and then outliers. You can use the data mining in the predicting the data business mining in the prediction analysis, wherein the prediction business can come into the picture, like the regression classifications. What are the classifications into the classifications of the different classes? And when you're data mining or you're actually putting the data mining into the business place, or you're actually creating the association rules, then you need to, that limitation happens. There are certain challenges happens that talks about them into the business summarized way. You need to scale the skill levels. to identify who will be able to actually managing it. Then you will be able to tool management, the codings, data mining management, the business understandings, the statistical algorithms. And someone is not skilled enough to do these activities, they will not be able to do these activities. Then your business models can come into the business patterns, or if we are able to patterns. And if we are not able to find out, then your mining is overfit or underfit. So if it is not able to accurately identify the business patterns at all, then it is an under. If it is over, it is over. In both the cases, you need to identify both the data. You need to have the large data into the business practice, very data into the business, and you are not able to understand how to manage the volume of the data. So that again becomes the major challenge in the business analysis. The practices that can be modified. We are selling into the business products in 10,000 to 10 to 15,000, and you are having the 50,000 into the business places, then your activities have changed. So you measure those activities into the same way that you are able to put them into the business pictures, that other models are being created, and you will be based on this product analysis. Then there could be a complex relationship, and there is a complex aggregation of data coming from the various sources. You need to integrate into the identification of the proper patterns, identify into the different business scenarios. Then you only will be able to finalize that data, which can be further analyzed. Once you understand the various things and the various activities you are understanding, let's give few examples there in which activities you can come into the wherein you will be able to try to understand more appropriate for certain examples from the certain domains. As an example, how can you use these processes in the business marketing? You will be able to identify these business activities into the segmenting the business markets, and then you will be doing the business according to the activities, so which are extremely reactive or extremely reactive with the activity campaigns and the business marketing campaigns, wherein you will be not be able to segregate into the business market analysis where you have. So you can plan accordingly. In the retail, you can use the association techniques to understand what are the different products in what combinations they are buying. So if a product A goes into the product B, and if the product A you will be able to buy, so you can able to pitch him so that you can also with the PB. You in the banking you will be able to understand the market risk, like understanding the various measures analysis within which you can be able to risk factors in the business industry and highlight those issues where you can be able to. Whereas in the healthcare industries, you will be business analytics to understand the business diagnostic metrics. Like this days, the various different techniques are used to find out measures, like the business patterns, the different diseases that internal organs, like find identifying the charts, and what charts can, what problems are happening, what areas are happening, the x-rays, in the television or the radio. You can be able to business analytics by measuring the business analytics, what channels are coming from which channels. There are several tools to develop this business models, to identify this business analytics. For this analytics, you tool takes a major role, because that it is the large amount of data, so you need to have a proper tool for it. Is almost impossible with data these days and managed manually. So you need to profound tools and models which can take care of the analysis, which can help in causing the tools techniques. There are various techniques available, like the Python few business models are the SAS, Oracle business language, data mining. They are similar into the business mining and can be used in the statistical analysis. So this the R language is an open source tool for statistical computing and the business graphics. The Oracle data mining is used for generating the data into the insights and making the predictions into the business practices. The benefits of the data mining are it helps the companies, organizations, that helps in the knowledge bases, informations, understanding what exactly is the business profitability, and you will be able to understand the business production, what exactly is happening, and you will be able to understand their decisions makings power, processes and the business manning, and you will be also able to understand the facilitations of the business trends, what are the trends in the previous year, this year and the next year, and you will be identifying if there is any immediate increase, decrease, segregation of the business patterns, how this thing is increasing, at what percentage it is increasing, if it is increasing sharp or if it is decreasing at a steep rate. You will be understanding how the facilitations are taken place, how the predictions are being happening, how the trends analysis and the behaviors are taking place.